Mondays with Craig Counsell roll on in Minnesota. First trip to Minneapolis of the year, and first time Michael Busch will be playing in his hometown as a major leaguer. What is it like for you to watch your players experience these moments?
Yeah, I mean, I think, Michael's very proud of where he grew up. He's got a big family, and he still lives in Minnesota in the winters, so he's devoted to the state of Minnesota. So I think it's a big thrill for him to come back here, and it's a big thrill for any player, but happy, as your first time playing as a big leaguer, I think that's a pretty special time, and you're going to have a lot of family here. So, I know Michael's looking forward to this trip, and it comes at a pretty good time for him.
What was it like the first time you played back in Milwaukee?
It was great. I mean, I think, when you look back on it, you made a probably bigger deal of it than it actually was. But I think it's really, I think the human part of it is just like you want to make sure everybody believes you're actually here in the big leagues. It's one thing seeing it on TV, but like when they see you in person, like, I'm not lying. I'm in the big leagues. Yeah, and I mean, Michael's been doing great things for a while, but I also think it's a thrill for I'd see Michael's dad standing over there, and just to see him in person, like get up this morning and drive 20 minutes and see your son playing a big league game is a big thrill.
And he's not only watching his son play in the big leagues, but as you mentioned, Michael's been one of the best players in the game the last month or so and putting together an amazing year. When you look at the swing changes he's made this year, what stood out?
Well, it's nothing dramatic, it's not some big like stance change or things like that. It's just really doing a better job of, I think, covering more of the strike zone. So, pitchers try to execute pitches and they make small misses, and I think Michael's better equipped to like handle some of those small misses now. And he's better equipped, like kind of up in the strike zone, which is something he struggled with a little bit last year. So, last year was, and Michael had a pretty good year last year. I don't want to take anything away from it, but it was like when they threw it down, he was going to have success. When they threw it up, he might struggle a little bit. Now he's raised the part up in the strike zone that he can handle, and I think that just leads to more success and more good times.
And he's been one of the best hitters on your team, but also one of the best hitters in the major leagues. When you look at this lineup collectively and the amount of really good hitters you have in it, almost to the All-Star break, is it surprising at all where this group is offensively?
We've had some guys take big steps forward. I mean, we've had Pete take a huge step forward. I think Michael at this point has taken a huge step forward for sure. I think Seiya's taken a step forward. So when you look at that, I mean, and step back, I mean, I'm not sure we can really say that, and that leads to a good offense, right? So Pete's step forward has been a really big one as compared to last year. So. That's how it works. You're lucky for. I think Ian can have a great second half still and be a huge contributor. And I think he will have a really big second half. So I think we got guys that can move forward pretty easily just based on their careers as well.
One of the stories with Seiya too, just a little bit more aggressive, really aggressive when he's ahead in the zone or in this count. What were the messages and conversations that you guys tried to parlay to him to help with that?
Yeah, and it's a really simple one. It's just always like it's just a trust of yourself and a trust in swing and because sometimes I think the hitters tend to be like it's almost being careful, and then sometimes careful might make you good at swing decisions, but for somebody like Seiya that hits the ball so hard, it's like you almost want them to take chances, to maybe give up some swing decisions, because when you take chances, the results can be home runs. So it's a fine line, right? Because nobody wants to swing it, but you'll see Seiya swing a slider way out of the zone. But it's okay, because if if they hang that slider, it's probably going to go out of the park.
Another huge piece for you guys this year has been Matthew Boyd, and he was named to the All-Star game. Do you think about the speech you're about to give when you tell him you're on the All-Star, or he was on the All-Star team? Like, what goes into just that moment?
Yeah, I mean, I think, honestly, I think for someone that's doing it for the first time, I think it's a really big deal. And not to take anything away from Kyle Tucker, but, right, when it's number 4 and you're, 6 years into your big career, it's a little different than Matthew Boyd, 34 years old, been through a lot of injuries and a lot of not very fun times in baseball where you're just rehabbing an injury to first-time All-Star. So we tried to put a little more thought into that one for sure, and tried to really tell the guys, what a lesson this is for everybody in here about how just showing up every day and doing your job the best way you can. Who knows where that's going to put you someday? You just don't know, and maybe that's kind of what faith is, really, just putting in a good day and having the faith that's going to lead somewhere or show up really good someday, and that's what's happened for Matthew Boyd.
His teammates just describe him as very engaging, and they've really enjoyed having him around. What have been the conversations you have had with him this year that have stood out?
Yeah, I mean, he is one of the nicer people in baseball. I can just being around a lot of people like this. There's a genuine just niceness to Matthew Boyd that is. It's hard to. Sometimes it doesn't feel really so nice. I don't. That sounds like a weird thing to say, but he is just a nice man that cares for the people around him. And you love to see people like that rewarded for their, frankly, great deeds and good deeds and great performance.
The bullpen, for the last several months has been the best in baseball according to the numbers. How does that impact your job and the way that you're kind of able to go through and decide who's going to pitch where?
Yeah, I think the thing you see from our bullpen that's really, I don't know that I've ever been able to manage a bullpen like this is that, a lot of times in bullpens, this guy's pitching here and this guy's pitching here, and it's very, what to expect based on the score of the game. I think we've been able to, because we've had so many guys pitching well, really emphasize rest for guys. So pitch the fresh players because so many guys have been doing well, and they've all gotten their outs, and I think they complement each other so well. That they don't put each other in bad situations, if that makes sense. And it's been really fun, man. So you'll see, Drew Pomerantz, he's opened, he's pitched in the 6th inning, he's pitched in the 9th inning, and he's pitched in a winning game in the 6th and a losing game in the 6th. And that's unique, and I think you could say that about a bunch of guys, about Presley, about Theobar, and so that to me is like a bullpen that is, complements each other really well, and they're getting each other rest. So I think they're really fresh right now, and we're not having to use the same guy a whole bunch. All those things add up to me to a bunch of a really good performing bullpen.
And time adds up as well, Craig, because we have the All-Star break coming next. And lucky for you, you do not have to do Tuesdays with Taylor next week. So what are your plans for the All-Star break?
I will be probably at a lake somewhere, just relaxing, and maybe on Tuesday catching a little bit of the All-Star game.
Yeah, love it. Thanks so much for the time. Cole?
Mac on the homer. Those cycles, they're fun if you're on the right team. If you're on the opposition, you never want to see those. 8-1, the Twins, they come out on top. They're still 3 games below that 500 mark, 44-47. So Craig and company, they know that going out there and winning the series, that will be of the utmost importance, and you have to have the bats working. So here's a skip, Craig Counsell on the offense tonight, or lack thereof.
Yeah, we didn't do enough against the starter. I think we made it a little bit too easy for him. You got through 5 relatively easy, frankly. And we just, I think we swung at the right pitches. We just had some, just misses, and so a bunch of kind of okay hit fly balls, but not enough action. And then we had some, the 8th inning against a really good reliever. We got the first 2 guys on, and he made some really good pitches. So, and then they tacked on some big runs.
With Shota, what did you feel like was the key for him after those 2 runs for you?
Well, I thought he just threw a lot of strikes tonight. They were super aggressive. I don't know. They felt like they swung at maybe 10 of the first 12 pitches. So this bunch of swinging early, but nothing. The double was just kind of a pretty good pitch, actually. But yeah, he settled in. He threw a bunch of strikes. He did a split finger a whole bunch tonight, and ends up with six innings and 2 runs. Pretty good start.
Going through just to see him come off a month plus and.
Yeah, I mean he's pitching like Shota does, and I don't think he's as good as he can be yet, but he's getting people out. Yeah, I mean it wasn't command. That wasn't. I mean, we gotta look at that one. We gotta dig into that one because we haven't seen that with Porter, so we gotta take a look at that one. Yeah, he'll pitch Sunday.
Bush back in his hometown, hit the ball hard 4 times. Going to put that one off the wall. Just you have to better control his emotions before this one.
No. He had a good at bat against Jackson. That was that was a big spot, and he hit a ball hard. Just unfortunately hit it right at him.
そういう考え方はあまりしたことなくて、今出せる全力をどう出すかってことを考えてるんで、あんまりそういう考え方はしたことないですね。
Yeah, I haven't really thought of that before, now or in the past. Really just trying to do what I can at that moment and do my best.
When you were seeing how aggressive the Twins hitters were to start the game, what kind of adjustment did you have to make after that?
そのツインズのバッターがすごい積極的にバットを振ってきて、どういう調整をしましたか？
そうですね。初回はまっすぐが狙ったところより低めに入ってしまったりとか、ストライクゾーンの中に集まってしまったんで、2回以降それを修正しなければいけないっていうことを思って2回以降は投げました。
Yeah, so in the first inning, I think my fastball, it was going into the zone too much, or I was pulling down on it. So I was just made an adjustment with that, moving on in the second inning.
How challenging has it been this season with losing Steele, you missing time, Jameson now missing time? How challenging has it been for the rotation to kind of get through this, and how confident are you that the rotation can continue to have guys step up?
今シーズンはカブスのローテーションは難しい状況にいて、今永選手もそうですけど、スティール選手、タイヨン選手も今その怪我で時間が外れているので、このローテーションが自信をこれから持ってどんどんいけると思いますか？
各ピッチャーが持てる力をしっかりと出せば、MLB の中でも屈指の先発陣だと思うんで、自分もその一人になっているってことをしっかり自信を持つ必要があると思いますし、僕も怪我している時にみんな先発の人が頑張ってくれて試合を作ってくれたんで、今怪我している人のが帰ってきていつ帰ってきてもいいように自分もいい状態を保ちたいなと思います。
I think it was a case when I was hurt where, everybody else in the rotation stepped up and, they pitched as well as they can. So I think right now, what I'm focused on is doing my best to help the team win. And I think every individual on the rotation, I think they have the capacity to, if they reach their potential, I think we'll be one of the top rotations. I think all we really have to do is just keep doing our best and picking each other up.
No one wants to get hurt, but after that injury, do you feel like the second half you're going to have really nice rhythm and be able to carry it through potentially into a playoff type stuff?
その怪我とか明らかにしたくないものなんですけど、その後半戦はそのいい波を乗ってリズムを作ってそれをプレーオフに持っていけると思いますか？
そうですね。ローテーションで穴を開けてしまった分、その残ってる体力っていうのを後ろの方に回すことができると思うんで、そこでやはり必要とされてるってことが選手として一番の価値があることだと思うので、そこで必要とされる選手になりたいと思います。
Yeah, so since in the first half I missed some time, I think that energy that I can use to bring that into the second half, and I think doing my best in the second half and building my rhythm, I think that's going to be my goal.